Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back, and we are on Love Island series 11. We are now on episode 5. I've just watched the episodes. I have just watched the episode to catch up. Let's just say we are going back to the mess that is Nicole, Kieran and Harriet, but more so Harriet this time around, with Patsy being the freaking puppeteer, the wind-up merchant. But we'll get there. We'll get there, because all I can say is, when it came to the end, I'll explain why I was set to Raucous Uma's clot. Yeah, at first. But then when it came, that text came for Mimi. Boy, me was happy. Me was happy. Anyway, before we get into this video, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And please comment, like, share, do all the good things that you do, because all of you know I am what? On the road to 1K. That is the truth around here. Anyway, so now we know as well that tonight, well, the episode I just watched was recoupling night as well. Okay, so Harriet is annoyed and believes that Kieran needs to find some type of reflection. I'm like, no, what Kieran needs to do is be true to himself and just not pick Harriet at the end of the day, because he knows things ain't really there for him and Harriet. He knows this, but he's trying to play the I'm not sure, it could be, it might be game. Kieran already knows who he wants, and that's Nicole at the end of the day. So you see in the lads' room as they're getting ready for the night, Ayo turns to him and talks about the fact that, you know, he is choosing Harriet, and basically Kieran is saying no. More like, put the name Nicole, that's who I'm going to choose. It will be Nicole at the end of the day. He wasn't necessarily chanting Nicole's name, but he was letting the guys know and putting it on blast out there that he prefers Nicole more so than Harriet at the end of the day, because Harriet still thinks she's in this race with Nicole. Basically, Harriet actually believes that she's won this race because of the shit that went on the day before, with the whole Kieran being honest about him kissing Harriet, and then Nicole kind of kicked off sort of thing, and then turned around to her and said, well, you can have him and all this, that and other. So Harriet believed that she'd won that round. No, my girl, that came to spank her back in her arse. Let's just put it this way. So you see the girls as they're getting ready, and Harriet again in people's business, trying to tell Sam that Sam needs to prepare for Joan being a hot commodity when girls come in, and be prepared for girls to speak to him. I'm like, is that not the pot calling the kettle black? Because you can't even prepare yourself for Nicole speaking to Kieran, or for Kieran liking Nicole at the end of the day. So what Harriet says you should take with a pinch of raw salt, because she doesn't express herself at the best of times anyway. All I say is Sam does look rather low tonight. She's not really her full-on sparkly self that she normally is. And she just says that she thinks her and Joey is in a good place. Me myself, I think sometimes the people in here are jokes. Like, honestly, they're jokes. Because nobody has talked about in terms of locking things off with each other, but they carry on as though they forged this connection with each other. So because that connection has been forged, ergo, you should not be chatting to nobody else. Nobody else should really be interested in you. And if they are, you need to come and talk to me, have that conversation with me, and basically run it past me at the end of the day. Yes, it's nice to know the truth, whether someone is interested in someone that you actually like or you're with. It's nice to know that truth. It's nice to have that conversation as to how things will kind of play out, and when then you can kind of move accordingly. You can plan it in that sense. But at the end of the day, you can't dictate what that person does. If they like a person more than you, they like a person more than you. This is freaking Love Island at the end of the day. We've all watched these series, these episodes. We know how it plays out. It likes to play with people's feelings at the end of the day. And let's just put it this way. People's feelings were getting played with left, right and centre in this episode at the end of the day. Proper getting played with. But my thing is everybody, including more so the girls, all be asking these lads, I need the truth from you, tell me the truth. All you need to do is chat to me, tell me the truth of where the land lies, and I'll be happy. But when you get that truth, you're not happy. Like, seriously, they're not happy. So what are the fuck are they meant to do in the first place? Ay. So you see Harriet and Nicole have a chat, basically. Nicole was honest with Harriet where she turned around. It wasn't about the kiss per se. It was about the fact that Harriet was not open and honest about it. So the way in which Nicole was talking, it was like she would have accepted it if it had come from Harriet. She wouldn't have blown up in the way that she blew up with Kieran. And all I can say on that one is that was bare double standards there, because at the end of the day, Kieran came to you and told you the truth. Harriet didn't tell you crap, yeah, but Kieran told you the truth. But instead of saying thank you for telling me the truth, now I know what kind of where the land lies, but I am kind of pissed at the fact that Harriet didn't tell me X, Y and Z when I sat there blaring out my feelings to her. Nicole got mad at Kieran. I don't know what she got mad at Kieran for, but she can't say that Kieran didn't give her the truth. So, and Harriet is trying to dig herself out of this hole with the explanations, because she's literally telling Nicole that Kieran kissed her first. At the end of the day, don't matter who went in for the Ross kiss first. You both kissed. You enjoyed it. You took that kiss. You took it into yourself. You enjoyed that kiss. You kissed him back at the end of the day. So if he kissed you first, if Harriet kissed him first, doesn't matter. Has no bearing on the thing. At the end of the day, Nicole is pissed that nobody told her. That's what that was. Nicole is pissed that she sat there in Harriet's face, the conversations that her and Kieran have had, where her emotions lie with Kieran, and this girl didn't say nothing, didn't even mention it, not even a peep. So when Kieran mentioned it, the girl was blindsided at the end of the day, and that's where the anger came from. And Harriet doesn't seem to get that. So Harriet tries to play it like the reason why she did not tell Nicole is because she said that she was going to speak to Kieran before he told anybody to see how they were going to play this situation. I was like, say what now? Reel and come back with that again, my selector, because no, Harriet, those were your words. Harriet said, and I quote, and I am going to read off my notes, "Why did Kieran tell Nicole I was not going to tell her as she is getting to know him as I am getting to know him?" That does not ring of Harriet basically going to tell Nicole anything. She was not prepared to tell Nicole anything. She was not prepared to have that discussion with Kieran in order to say, how will we tell Nicole in regards to, or let people know that we had kissed. She was not going to do any of that, because Harriet had already believed that she'd won out from Nicole, basically, because she thought if Kieran has made that move and kissed her and she's kissed him back, then there's something there on Kieran's side and he's going to let the whole Nicole thing go. That's not how it played out for her. Now Nicole is basically trying to say that she's now not going to hold herself back, because she was holding herself back from Kieran, and now she's not going to. She's going to open herself up. I'm like, yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how long that lasts, because you know you want Kieran. Nicole knows she wants Kieran, but at the moment she's thinking she's lost out to Harriet, but she hasn't. She hasn't at all. So you see Sean and Kieran having a chat. And basically Sean is asking Kieran, has he not told Harriet about him wanting Nicole or wanted to pursue Nicole? No, Sean, he hasn't. He hasn't had that conversation at the end of the day. He should have that conversation with her so she isn't blindsided by the Ross news. But no, he hasn't. Again, another one who says, like, when they all come in the first time around, they all give this bravado on their personal VCs, what they're about, what they're going to do, that they're not afraid to talk to people. But then when they get into the Ross villa, and then when it comes to situations like this, they don't know how to talk to people. Their mouth becomes stuck. Like, seriously. So Sean basically wants to crack on with Harriet, because Sean actually likes him a bit of Harriet. The way Sean talks is a bit of, it doesn't fill me with, it's like Sean is trying to be like a second type of Ronnie, and it just does not fit. Do you know what I mean? I have a feeling that Sean is going to have Napoleon complex tendencies, because he's a bit of a short dude. So we'll see how that goes from there. So you see Sean and Kieran sitting there as they're chatting, looking over at Nicole and Harriet, because don't forget, Sean is with Nicole and Kieran is with Harriet, and they're looking like It's about to be wife swap time on this beat. I'm telling you, the way that they're looking at them. So, and this is what I mean about them all coming with this bravado, but they're not showing the trueness of themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, if you like someone, you like someone. Just go tell the person that you like them, and you know what, you're going to be open to pursuing that with them because your connection is stronger with them than it is with the other person. Maybe Harriet may have appreciated that conversation more, but we will never know because it didn't happen until like after the fact at the end of the day. So then you see Sean go over to Harriet because he wants to get to know Harriet. So Harriet then decides that she is going to find out the information any which way she can do in regards to what Kieran may have been talking about in regards to Nicole. I'm like, why don't you go ask the man? And this is what I mean. This is where the drama starts and the backbiting and the whisper starts, because at the end of the day, the person that you're asking isn't going to give you the full context of what they said. They're not going to give you that full context. So it's best you go and have a conversation with the person that you're talking about. Ergo, Harriet should go and pull Kieran and have a chat and find out where his head is at when it comes to Nicole. And maybe he may have sat down and spoke to you. Do you know what I mean? Sean does tell Harriet that Kieran is interested in Nicole. It is more than that, but I don't think Sean is going to sell Kieran down a Swanee at the end of the day because he knows it's going to cost him his life. So you don't want to be known as the snitch up in that place. You really don't. You don't want to be known as the person that causes the drama up in that place. So I think Sean played it rather cool, which is kudos to him at the end of the day. So he basically turns around and tells Harriet that, you know, he is interested in her. So Sean makes his play. At the end of the day, because I think it might have been because of the situation that was going on around them, especially with Harriet's mind being elsewhere, she did not seem interested in what Sean was saying, in the fact that he was making a play for her. Even though she was making all the right noises, her expressions were something else. She was not with him at that point in time. So my thing as well is, if a person is open to getting to know people, as Harriet said she was open to getting to know Sean, I'm like, then stop trying to be someone's number one in that place, because it's a full-on double standard. Because at the end of the day, Harriet sat there and said to Sean, oh, I'm open to getting to know other people, but bearing in mind, she doesn't believe that Kieran should be open to getting to know other people, and this is where all the fucking issue is coming from. Like, seriously coming from, because she wants him to make up his mind. Kieran has already made up his mind. Kieran made the faux pas in not speaking to Harriet first, in the fact that he did make up his mind. He clearly made up his mind about who it is that he wanted and where he wanted to go, but he should have said it to Harriet first. But the way in which it came about also wasn't fair to Kieran and wasn't fair to Harriet. So how it comes about is Joey and Harriet are having a conversation. And Joey does say to Harriet that at the end of the day, it's quite obvious that Kieran has a thing for Nicole. I mean, we've been watching this right now for is it for a week? I think it's for a week now. And we could see that Kieran has a thing for Nicole. How Harriet don't see that, I don't know. So Joey then lets off that, you know, Kieran was chanting Nicole's name in the room with the lads. He wasn't actually doing that. Joey's a little bit messy at times. Joey can be a little bit messy at times, but he also can have a sage of truth to him, because I think Joey was trying to get Harriet to realise that, you know what, the signs were there that this man was interested in someone else, but you just chose not to look at them. And the fact that Harriet needs to be herself and be open to somebody else and start chatting to them rather than just looking at Kieran, because Kieran, no, aren't you? That's exactly kind of what Joey was kind of saying to her. So what Joey did is kind of call Kieran over. Now, this is not the best way in order to get an answer, and this is where the drama started from. So Joey turns and asks Kieran, who do you like the most? And Kieran was like, what? So Joey said, in the room, didn't you say that, you know, you were leaning more towards you like Nicole better? And he went, yeah, I did. I said that to the lads. And I didn't hear him say anything else after that, like, is that all sort of thing. So if he did say, is that all, he was more than likely directing that to Joey, not to Harriet. this is where the miscommunication happens. So you see Kieran walks off. Kieran is mightily pissed. Now I know, even though Harriet was face favouring and saying to Kieran in front of his face, well, there it is, you have your answer, it's Nicole. And even though she was trying to come off as this, oh, I'm okay with that, she wasn't. She was fuming underneath. She was planning her vengeance underneath. Let me put that way. And this is why I said at this point it's when Patsy wound her up and watched her go, basically. So Kieran was pissed off. He then walked off over to the rest to, I think it was to Jess, to Ronnie, because they were having their chats. And this is why I said Jess as well is a breath of fresh air, because Jess is one of these people where she said to Ronnie, just keep it clear with me at the end of the day. And I am paraphrasing. But at the end of the day, all she wants is to know the truth. If you get to know somebody else up in this place, just let me know. Give me a kind of a heads up at the end of the day, so I know where your thoughts are lying. I don't care if you're going to pull people for chats. I know we have a good connection over here, but it's still early days and we're still open to other people. This is why I like Jess. She's a breath of fresh air. She ain't stupid in going forward. Do you know what I mean? So then, you see Harriet fucking go over to Patsy and Uma in tears, and I'm like, what are you blurting for, my girl? What are you I don't understand the blurting. So she goes off. She's seething, like absolutely seething. So she goes off, goes into the they go off. She needs to talk to them. Goes into the makeup room. She's there crying. It's because all Harriet wants is the attention. She wants to feel like she's the victim in all of this, and she's the hard done by one, and Kieran's the prick. He's done this to me. He's done X, Y, and Z. How dare he? But she needs an audience for that. But she's got the audience in Patsy and Uma. Now with Patsy winds the girl up. Like, Harriet's like, I should go and talk to him. I should go and get it out. Patsy's like, yeah, you should. Egging her on. But like, egging her on as if saying, well, no, he is not going to get away with this. Those were Patsy's words. He's not going to get away with this at all. We will make sure that he doesn't go and get away with this. If you want to go and talk to him and have it out with him, then you do that. I will have your back. That is not basically listening to what your friend says, trying to meet between the middle or read in between the lines as to what has actually happened and to what has actually been said. Because again, Harriet has taken it out of proportion, because she's basically saying exactly what happened, but then she tacks on the fact that, you know, Kieran turned around, his daddy is that all, and that's what she was pissed about, in the fact the way he talked to her. And I'm like, he didn't say that to you though, my love. He was talking to, it was Joey who posed the question. It was Joey who posed the question. And yes, afterwards, Harriet had said, well, was you saying this in with the lads? And he went, yeah, is that all? Because you like called him over like he was some kind of like, you know, kind of puppet on a string. Like, you come over here now and tell us what we need to know. I think it was more so as well as the fact that Harriet lost. And Harriet knew she lost out to Nicole. Harriet, as she's already proclaimed herself to be in her life, is a princess. So what does a princess do? They get everything they want. They don't. Nobody ever really tells them no. Well, Harriet got a big old red no from Kieran, and she don't like it. So that's why she carried on in the way that she carried on. And again, Patsy was there front and centre to egg that girl on and watch her make a damn fool of herself. Because that's what Harriet did in the end. She made a fool of herself. So then when Nicole comes in to try and find out, well, what's going on? Is everything okay? They make Nicole feel like she is a bad person. Like she's not to be talked to and to be ostracized. Oh, you need to go and ask that prick, because Kieran is a prick. I'm telling you now, if you want him, you can have him. But Kieran's... And I was like, oh, Donald, right here, my friend. Who the fuck are you to talk to another person like that? She's just said that Kieran disrespected her in a way that he spoke to her, and then she does the same thing to Nicole. That's off the charts level non-thinking in my freaking books. But you know what? Harriet wasn't all there at that point. She wasn't. She was gone with the wind at that point. Yeah, she was so stuck in her own self-loathing in that sense. Well, not necessarily self-loathing, but in a vengeful spirit, because she was like, this man ain't gonna get one over on me without me coming out fighting. So you see Nicole and Kieran having a chat, and Nicole is basically saying, I've just went in there and they've just had a go at me and told me to ask you what the fuck is going on, calling you all the names under the sun. So Kieran sits her down, the others move off. Kieran sits her down and tells her what has happened. So Nicole is happy by that, because at the end of the day, Nicole likes this boy. Nicole likes this boy, and you can see it. So all you see is like freaking Harriet, boom, 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 bowling out of the freaking villa with Patsy not far behind her. You get this girl, you do this girl, you do what. And I'm like, my girl, go sit yourself down somewhere. Go sit yourself down, because if you was any type of friend, you will not let your friend, especially on national TV, go and do what she did with Kieran, because all it did was make her look like a fool. She wanted to say that Kieran made her look like a prick and make her look like a dickhead. No, she made herself look like a dickhead by reacting to the situation the way she reacted to the situation. You should have took a leaf out of Mimi's book, being cool, calm and collected, and go and have your chat with this person and say, do you know what? Us two need to go and have a talk, because I don't like the way in which you relayed this information to me, because this is how it came across to me, and then lay it down point by point for him to answer back, not sit there screeching at him. He's trying to explain to Harriet exactly how it went, and Harriet is to the point where the others are literally in the kitchen trying to listen to what's going on, and it's only because of Nicole going over to the others and saying, do you know what, let's give them their privacy, that they left. And you see Sam and Jess talking to the side, saying that was Patsy told her to go and do that, like wound her the fuck up. Like they believed that if you was any type of friend, you wouldn't do that to a friend. You wouldn't let them show their ass in the way that Harriet showed her ass to Kieran. But hey ho, them's the breaks. So Harriet does have a conversation with Jess and with Sam, and basically they're both having this conversation with her as if to say that basically you shouldn't have done that. At the end of the day, you should have held your head high, had your conversation that you wanted to, but you are a lady, you don't go and do them things. So Jess basically was saying, at the end of the day, whoever told you to do that, basically, I'm paraphrasing, is not a friend to you. I don't think she used those exact words though. I'd have to look back, but I don't think she used those exact words. She was basically putting herself in Harriet's position and saying that if it was one of my friends, or I was in that position and one of my friends like was having a chat with me, we would never ever egg each other on to go do things like that to other people like that, because we know what it looks like. Because even though you're trying to make a point with that person, at the end of the day, you're the only one that's come off looking like a dickhead because of the way you reacted to that situation. So with Patsy doing what she did, she wound her up and set her off. That's what Patsy did, then stood back and watched the fireworks. So in the morning you do see Harriet again start the flames up by chatting to Patsy and saying to Patsy that Jess said whoever told you to do that is not a friend to you. So that set Patsy off. So then you see Patsy and Jess have words in the room. Now Jess ain't one to mince her words either. She ain't gonna let no one ramrod her at the end of the day. So these two started clashing with each other. So Jess says, it wasn't a statement that I made. I didn't exactly say those words. I actually said if it was one of my friends, I would not be setting her up on a fool's errand. I'm paraphrasing again. To be fair, that's how Jess was seeing it. Patsy was like, well, you know what? I didn't tell her to go out there. She wanted to engage with Kieran, and I told her, well, let's engage with Kieran and I would have her back. I would do that for any friend. So Patsy's there saying there's a difference between saying something and then saying it as a statement. And basically Jess turned around and basically said to Patsy, well, you say a lot of things all the time, to be fair. You're always in a lot of mix-up. And I'm paraphrasing because that's what Jess meant. She did that. Patsy's always in a lot of mix-up. And then Patsy tried to throw it back to Jess. And Jess said, yeah, I am opinionated and what? And Jess just looked at her as if to say, don't think I'm one of these girls here that you can literally run over with your mouth, because Jess ain't that type of person. She will back you up into a corner if she has to. And she showed that within the exchange within the changing room. The one thing that I do want to jump into is, right, is like after Harriet's had that whole conversation with Kieran, she has the cheek to then have a go at Nicole about, you can have him, and Nicole rightfully said, don't have a go at me. I haven't done nothing. I don't even know what the frick is going on at the end of the day. Are you and giving him this, giving Harriet, giving Nicole this permission that she can have him. I'm done with him. Da 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 da. At the end of the day, Harriet, my gal, Nicole already had him. You didn't. Them's the breaks. So you trying to give Nicole permission to have something that you didn't even have is an absolute joke. Like a full-on joke. The one thing I will say though is, they can't go for Kieran's age. Yes, we know Kieran's 21 years old. But you can't go for Kieran's age, because Harriet was hankering after Kieran. Harriet fancied Kieran at the time. But because she lost out to Nicole, now you want to try and be insulting towards his age. It don't work like that at the end of the day. So as the day starts up, you see Sean go and give Harriet a cup of coffee because he wants her. You see Ayo, he basically sit down with Kieran and tells him where he went wrong, because I will agree with Ayo, because at the end of the day, when Joey did pose that question to Kieran, Kieran should have been the one to say, do you know what, it's best I don't talk about that right now. Harriet, come, let's go and have a chat. That could have diffused the whole situation then and there, but he didn't. He chose the route that he chose at the end of the day. So Ayo is right in saying that because of that situation there, which he could have nipped in the bud, he does need to apologise to Harriet. And that's fair enough at the end of the day. And Kieran thought it was fair enough that he'll apologise for that bit of where he played into that scenario, but he isn't going to apologise for the end encounter in terms of saying that, you know, he likes Nicole, he's not going to apologise for. But I don't think anyone's wanting that for him to apologise for at the end of the day. You're interested in who you're interested in. So now you see Harriet has set her sights on Ronnie, because apparently Harriet fancies Ronnie. Ronnie is a bit of her at the end of the day. She also says that she now likes Sean. I don't think she does, but it was good that Joey gave her the pep talk in terms of what she now needs to do. Ayo pulls Uma again, and again I think it's a bit of a piss take on Ayo's part, because he's not really been talking to Mimi or pulling her for chats. He's kind of forgotten that Mimi's there. So Mimi is basically doing her own thing. She is the queen that she is. She's stepping back and letting him do what he believes he needs to do. She's not going to encroach on that in the slightest. But at the end of the day, you started with Mimi. You pulled her in from the get-go, especially on the terrace and what you wanted. Now another bright new thing has come in and you've completely forgotten about this black queen over here at the end of the day. All Mimi wants to know is where his head is at with Uma. That's all she wants to know, so she can then move accordingly. So Uma's basically saying that she's now going to sit back and see who makes the most effort. The only thing I'm going to say is Mimi is a queen. Yeah. She ain't going to let nobody tilt her crown and make her look like the fool that Harriet did that night. She ain't going to do that. She ain't that type of person. So you see Ronnie pulls Harriet, and you see Jess looks because he pulls her out from the Plucker girls. Harriet is happy that she's going to have this conversation with Ronnie because apparently she likes Ronnie. So he basically feels like they both do the eye flirt. So Harriet was basically saying, well, do you do that with anybody else? And Ronnie's like, no. And I'm like, you're full of bollocks, because you must do it with Jess, because at the end of the day, you and Jess be lip locking here, there and everywhere. So he does a little bit more with Jess than he does doing the eye flirt with Harriet. So Harriet is basically open now and pickings for the vultures that they are of Sean and Ronnie. So Harriet does tell Ronnie that she does fancy him. And he basically tells her where he is with Jess, that he is cool with Jess. They do have a good connection with each other, but he is open to getting to know other people, and he wants to continue to getting to know Jess even though he continues to get to know her. So Harriet is basically saying that she's fine with that. I'm like, judging by the shit that went down between Harriet and Kieran and the whole Nicole debacle, that's all I'm going to say on that one. So Kieran pulls Harriet next and says, can they have a chat? So basically he does apologise to her to how the things had occurred that night. My thing is he was asked a question, he answered at the end of the day. So she does accept his apology, but says that they ain't at a hug stage at all. So she walks off. You see Joey and Uma, and to be fair, I am going to say this is why I was quite shocked that Uma chose the decision that she did, because I thought she had more of a connection with Joey than she did with Ayo, because I didn't even though I saw her and Ayo banter, I thought she had the more of the banter with Joey, and I think she was flirting more with Joey than anything else. She did tell him that she does like him, she does like Ayo, and she does like Kieran, but she kind of doesn't want to step on people's toes, especially with the whole scenario that carried out in regards to Kieran, Nicole and Harriet at the end of the day. But Joey does seem to like her a lot. He does seem to like her a lot. So you see Ayo on the daybed, and you see Mimi on the daybed as well. So Mimi is like looking at him as if to say, what you want to talk about? So I'm like, Mimi, my girl, are you literally going to ask him where his head is at? You have questions that you want answers to, ask him them, but she doesn't. So basically she's like, if stuff is going on in front of her the way it is right now, because at the end of the day, this boy ain't really pulling Mimi for chats or anything, or showing her that, you know what, she's still on his peripheral. He's not showing her that in the slightest. His attention is fully taken with Uma, because when he had the chat with Kieran, he made comparisons in the fact that Mimi is like cool, calm and collected. She has confidence, but Uma's confidence tips it over more in the balance. And I'm like, when you start comparing people, it ain't never gonna work. It ain't never gonna work at the end of the day. So as Mimi said, she will naturally pull back, as she's not into no competition. She ain't there to compete with anybody. Ayo doesn't want her to pull back, but at the end of the day, Ayo can't say that to her. Ayo's not showing her nothing at all since Uma came in. So what does he expect Mimi to do? So you see Nicole and Kieran having a chat, and you see Harriet and Patsy not too far behind them having a chat. Now this is what I don't like about the backbiting and being bitchy towards the other women in the villa, because Harriet will still say, well, doesn't she know that we lips? She knows we lips, and how does she think about that? And I'm like, who cares? Use like kiss every other person up in that place, especially when it comes to the games and the challenges. You swap spit. What does it matter that Kieran kissed you in the bed? At the end of the day, that situation is now null and void. This is what I don't like with the bitchiness and the backbiting. At least Patsy turned around and said, you know what, Nicole is a good person. She's a good girl. And she's just doing what she wants to do. This is fucking Love Island, for fuck's sake. It's fucking Love Island. Get a major freaking grip, people. So then a text comes in, which is never good, and Uma reads out that the boys will be doing the recoupling. They'll be choosing. Uma will choose first as the bombshell. And all I say is it couldn't come at a worse time for Mimi. So we get to the recoupling. Uma picks Ayo. Of course she would take him, but it is what it is. I absolutely fell for Mimi, like felt for her completely. And I'm just like, Uma's sitting there saying how bad she felt, but her whole expression was not saying that she felt bad. It was not saying that she felt bad. I'm like, you don't feel bad, my girl. You got what you wanted at the end of the day. I just hope, all I was hoping, because I told you at the beginning I was ready to cuss Uma, because I knew Mimi was going to get left there, because I knew who was going to pick who. I knew Mimi was going to get left there, and I thought if she ever has to leave the island, I was ready to curse Uma. Let me put it that way. I was ready to go 10 toes deep for Mimi. That's how I feel about Mimi. All I wanted to do was give Mimi a hug. So Ronnie basically turns around, and in his speech he says he likes where it's going, but he's open to meeting girls going in. He says he had a chat with someone else that opened up his eyes, maybe. I'm just like, my girl, my guy, if you ever pick Harriet over Jess right now, you will be blindsiding the fuck out of Jess. Just remember that, and your life will be not worth living in that villa if you did that at the end of the day, because before all of this happened, Jess done told you she needs you to be open and honest with her. She don't care what the fuck you tell her, just don't tell her what she needs to hear. She wants to hear the truth of it. If it hurts, it hurts. If it don't, it don't. She will move accordingly. So if he ever dared pick Harriet, that would be blindsiding her, and there'll be fireworks. But I say, so he does end up picking Jess at the end of all that, I thought Harriet need not worry because Sean wants her. So then I was like, oh, there's trouble in paradise, because Jess was not too pleased by that at all. And even Ronnie could see that girl was fuming. So we kind of asked her, and she basically, her issue was around the fact it's the my eyes have been open comment that she didn't like in the slightest, made her look like a damn fool. And it kind of did, to be fair, because at the end of the day, if you're interested in someone, fair enough, but don't make it seem as though it's subpar to what you've got with Jess, because it ain't. So then we get to Joey. Uma didn't look, Uma's expressions were like, I'm not so sure if I picked right. That's where Uma's expressions was coming from. And I'm like, it's too late now. You've chose who you wanted to choose. If you wanted to choose Joey, you could have chosen, but you didn't. You took AO, so, you know, be happy with your choice. Joey basically talks about that Sam is so green, which is funny. He's got her from the beginning. They have a good connection. He just wants to see where it goes. So Sam was happy with that. We all knew he was going to pick Sam. And then as Sam is there giggling with Joey and everything, the camera cuts to Uma's face. And you see Uma looking on smiley, like saying, don't get too comfortable with him. And I was like, yeah, nah, don't play that game. Don't play that game. You made your pick. You make it work. You made Mimi stand there looking like the beautiful queen that she is, but looking like a fool by herself. Do you know what I mean? So Kieran goes up, and he basically talks about the experience being up and down, and for other people it led to upset. And he goes, everything happens for a reason, and he's happy where it ended. Nicole was smiling and smizing her way through that. And Kieran had to turn around and ask support from Joey as if he sounded okay. I was like, my guy, speak for yourself. Make up your own mind on what it is that you wanted to do. Say it with your chest, my friend. So we did. He picked Nicole. We knew that was coming. So Sean basically picked Harriet. And then Munvia was last. We already knew Munvia was going to pick Patsy, because that's where he was going, and that's what happened. So I was like, which leaves Mimi by herself. I was just about to say, do you know what, Uma, me and you, it's going to be me and you, because I swear down if this girl goes. And then the text comes in. And the text was, Omar is waiting to meet Mimi. And I was like, oh yes, thank you, Jesus. But when you seen Omar, oh my God. Omar's gorgeous. Another black king is coming in. Now, Love Island, you're getting it right. Black love is what we need to see up in here. You're getting it right, my guys. But Omar, yes, I was going to literally have some competition on him hand, because don't forget, Mimi said in the previous episode to him, once he's starting to get to know Uma and where he is and the energy he's going to be giving to Uma, it's going to be the same energy he gave to Mimi. Best believe Mimi said to him, just you wait until someone else comes in, because I'll be doing the same thing. And he was like, oh, but now it's real now. And everybody started clapping except for Ayo. Ayo looked upset. Ayo looked downtrodden. He was not happy with that decision. I thought, nah, but you were happy that Uma picked you, my love. So now you're going to watch our little Mimi, because she's single at the moment, get her groove on like Stella did in how she got her groove back. Mimi's gonna come back fighting and strong. So I'm just glad that Mimi got to stay, and she goes out to have her date with Omar, and that's where it ended. I was just so happy not to see another black queen go out that door, because they let these black girls go too quickly, because this is what always happens to our beautiful black queens. But I'm just glad that Omar stepped in, and he's gorgeous. I ain't gonna lie, he's gorgeous, and I think a lot of the girls are probably gonna like him when he walks in there, because yeah, he definitely has something over Ayo. Ayo's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, he's handsome, but Omar, when we saw the clip of anyway, I will stop there. And as I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button, so you know what I mean. know I'm on it and doing videos. Please comment, like, share, and do all the good things that you do, because I am what? On the road to 1K. And I'll be back across your screens very soon, my people. Peace out.